Every advertising strategy, at its core, exists to solve a single logistical problem. Integrated marketing communications is the engine used to deliver the right message to the right audience to drive action. The design of that engine is determined by where a product sits within the macroeconomic supply chain. To see how this dictates communication, look at the life cycle of clothing. At its raw origins, you have industrial harvesting. That raw cotton is spun into thousands of tons of synthetic yarn. An everyday shopper has no use for industrial fiber. Manufacturers run business-to-business campaigns aimed at garment factory procurement teams, emphasizing fiber strength and reliable supply chains. When that yarn is woven into garments and hits retail racks, the target audience flips. Apparel brands deploy business-to-consumer advertising aimed directly at individual shoppers. A single product ecosystem requires two simultaneous, radically different communication architectures to move material from raw origin to final consumer. At the macroeconomic level, all commercial advertising falls strictly into one of two domains, business to consumer or business to business. We can map these differences by looking at this matrix. We have the consumer domain on one side and the enterprise domain on the other. Down the side, we will track the specific operational dimensions that separate them: audience motive, transaction risk, and media efficiency. This operational split exists because B2C and B2B represent distinct mathematical environments. Applying a strategy that works for selling shoes to a corporate software contract guarantees commercial failure. We begin with our first dimension, the target audience and their motive for buying. Consumer purchases are driven heavily by emotion, perceived status, pleasure, or immediate convenience. To secure a sale in this space, a brand usually only needs to persuade a single human mind. Enterprise targeting ignores broad demographics like age or income, focusing instead on specific organizational job roles. The buying motive here is strictly rational. Corporations spend money to secure financial return on investment, mitigate operational risk, and drive efficiency. This introduces a complex variable, the decision-making unit. Enterprise sales require persuading a multi-tiered hierarchy. At the base, initiators identify the problem alongside technical evaluators auditing security. Above them, financial officers calculate costs, and C-level executives approve large expenditures. Pleasing this committee requires tangible proof points. An advertising campaign here has to deliver white papers, case studies, and compliance certifications that an internal champion can present to the group. You are no longer convincing an individual. You are navigating a system, and systems demand verified data over raw emotion. This brings us down the matrix to transaction value and the duration of the sales cycle. For everyday consumer goods like groceries or jeans, the transaction is virtually instantaneous. It takes seconds to minutes to decide. If the purchase fails to satisfy, the financial and operational risk to the buyer is negligible. Enterprise contracts, conversely, involve massive monetary value per transaction. They require formal proposals, requests for pricing, and timelines that stretch across months or years. Consider a public infrastructure project, like a metropolitan subway expansion. Selecting a structural steel vendor requires extensive engineering evaluations and rigorous public bidding. Procuring rolling stock and complex locomotive engines is even more demanding. Buyers undergo 12 to 24 months of continuous risk assessment before finalizing a vendor. An advertising strategy in this space has a specific mandate: build authoritative trust and keep the brand top of mind across that entire multi-year procurement cycle. Time and risk dictate the pace of the narrative. Consumer decisions take seconds to minutes. Enterprise marketing must survive rigorous risk assessments across multi-year procurement cycles. We move to the final dimension of our matrix, media and distribution strategy. The primary operational threat to any marketing budget is ad waste, paying to show advertisements to non-qualified buyers. Mass broadcasting works highly efficiently for consumer household brands because their total addressable market includes nearly everyone who sees the ad. But if you air a commercial for industrial aircraft engines or commercial HVAC systems during a televised sporting event, you spend your budget on an audience where over 99% of the viewers will never buy your product. To combat this, enterprise advertisers rely strictly on precision narrowcasting. This means utilizing targeted physical channels, deploying direct mail, and establishing a presence at specialized industry expos where the audience is already filtered for relevance. It also means placing digital and print collateral in industry-specific publications and on professional platforms where you can target individuals purely by their job title and company size. In the enterprise space, media efficiency relies entirely on reaching the right people, regardless of total volume. Looking closely at our fully constructed operational model, we can clearly see two distinct mathematical environments operating simultaneously. The consumer model utilizes high-energy, emotionally evocative triggers. It is designed for rapid, low-risk execution across mass media channels. The enterprise model utilizes professional, data-backed narrowcasting. It is designed to mitigate operational risk across multi-tiered corporate committees over a long time horizon. Ultimately, the macroeconomic position of a product in the supply chain dictates its entire marketing strategy. A brilliant, highly creative advertising campaign will still fail if its delivery architecture misaligns with how the target audience actually makes their purchasing decisions. Integrated marketing communications requires strict operational alignment to function correctly. Delivering the right message is completely useless if the underlying architecture isn't built to support the buyer's structural reality.